What's up today, YouTube? This is OCD for EDC, and today what I've got for your face balls is another TwoSun knife. This is actually one I've been carrying for a little while. Yeah, just haven't gotten around to doing a video on it, but it's a pretty cool knife, so I think you guys are going to dig it. Anyway, we'll start out by doing a few size comparisons here. This is, although a slender knife, not a small guy. So there it is against the Spyderco Manix 2. And here it is against the Super Freak. So you can see there we're talking about a pretty good sized knife in length dimensions anyway. And here it is against the Benchmade Bug Out and the Spyderco Para 3 Lightweight. So as you can see there, pretty good sized knife in length. So what we're actually looking at here, this is called the TS-169. And for those of you that have some TwoSun knives, I think the best size comparison is this guy right here. This is the TS-67. So you can see there we're looking at very similar in size and dimensions. And much different blade, but still a simple 2-screw construction, titanium frame lock. So anyway, so the TS-169, it is a night morning design, and this is sporting 14C28N blade steel, which is a great budget option. I really like 14C28N. Overall length, 8.3 inches. You've got a handle that is 4.7 inches long and a blade that is 3.6. The handle thickness, I'll grab some calipers here. Make sure these are zeroed. All right. So you can see here in the center that we're just over a ½ inch, but it does swell out at the ends to be just over 6/10 of an inch. You're looking at 5/8 right there. So, just over a ½ inch out to 5/8 on either end. You got a blade stock of 140 thousandths, and you have behind the edge thickness of, let me see if I can get that right. Oop. Right there. It hovers between 15, 16 thousandths all the way across. Nice flat ground blade. Wipe that off here. So you got a really nice flat ground blade. Comes to a very nice edge. Plunge grind is very symmetrical. And, it's kind of a cool blade shape. It's kind of I don't know, an elongated leaf shape, if you will. And then it does have this kind of flat ground portion right there at the end. It does come to a pretty fine tip. So this is certainly not your hard use kind of knife. I would say this is more like a kind of a gentleman's carry. The handle scales, of course, this is titanium handle. You can see they're really well contoured. It's almost round in that direction there. And then you've got these milling lines that are really nicely done with this long center groove that runs down the length of the knife. On the show side, you have non-tooled ends on both ends here, same screw. The one in the back here is longer to keep or for the pocket clip. And then T8 hardware, of course, that's pretty standard on TwoSun knives with T6 for the lock bar insert. You can see the flipper tab here is really tiny, so this thing pockets really well. The flipper tab is one of the most minimal flippers I've ever seen, actually. So that's really well done, and the blade just rockets out. The action on this guy is fantastic. Of course, TwoSun knife, it's running on ceramic caged ball bearings. You got a ceramic detent ball and a hardened steel lock face with the over travel stop. So yeah, let's get a weight on this guy. So you're looking at 3.6 inches of blade and 3.446, so just under 3.5 ounces for 3.6 inches of blade, so that's pretty fantastic. And pocket clip on this guy is well done. You can see it sits down in that center groove there, but it's got good retention. It's got nice ramp, you can see there, going in and out of the pocket. It's well done. My only kind of complaint, I guess, is that you can see as the knife swells up towards the end, you know, it's thinner in the center and it gets a little fatter out on the ends, that the groove there, or the space underneath the clip, is pretty tight. So on some tighter, or you know, some pants that have larger material, you can't get this thing all the way up. But if you are wearing thinner pants, you know, you're going to have about this much sticking out, but you know, it doesn't even really look like a knife at that point because it's just kind of round. Now, the handle on this guy, it's just very neutral. There's no jimping anywhere on the handle. But, you know, because it's kind of a gentleman's carry, you know, this isn't a bushcrafting knife. So, you know, certainly totally functional. And, you know, it's really kind of like steak knife-ish, if you will. So you can see here that the flipper tab does offer a little bit of a stop there, and it is also really comfortable to kind of choke up on it. But you do have a little bit of a ramp here. The blade does kind of go upwards, but really comfortable in the hand, really neutral. You know, I think this would work for just about anyone, and certainly the action on it, the detent, is just really, really well dialed in. And yeah, it's pretty thin blade stock. You know, comes down to a really fine edge, so you don't have a whole lot of weight swinging around. As in, like on the TS-169, you can see the difference in the tips on these guys. Just a huge difference there in the amount of weight that's out at the end of the blade. So on the 67, you've got all that weight that kind of carries the blade around. On the 169, you know, the action's super smooth, but you have to kind of shake it down. So anyway, let's get into this guy real quick and see what we're working with on the inside. So like I said, it's all T8 hardware. It's all standard stuff for TwoSun. And just really well done. Now, I would consider this to be a budget knife, but you know, everybody has a different idea of what budget is. But for me, you know, really anything under $100, I'm going to say, is in the budget category. So let's get must be magnetized a little bit there. So there's the washers that TwoSun uses on pretty much every knife that they do on bearings. Really well done. There's a groove there for the bearings to ride in. And then, of course, you got nylon cage ceramic bearings. And you can see here a whole bunch of internal milling. You can see the blade stop track there. But the internal milling is really well done. Nice titanium backspacer, which is just smooth on the exterior. And you have a locating pin there. So, yeah, pretty simple in its construction, which I really appreciate and like that. And then on this blade here, like I said, it's a internal stop pin. One of the things that TwoSun generally does on knives, but they did not do on this one, is there is not a detent ramp. So it's kind of interesting. I would have thought that there would be. It would certainly make this a little nicer if there were. But, you know, it's not a big deal. I'll probably end up putting a detent ball ramp in this myself, which, if you want to see how to do that, I actually posted a video here a while back on how to make a detent ball ramp. So you can go back and check that out if you're interested. But anyway, you know, this is just a kind of a plain looking knife. Kind of reminds me of a Laconico design in its simplicity. He's kind of well known for, you know, making real simple knives. And I'm I'm actually going to throw just a tiny bit of KPL on the detent track here. Actually, I'm going to wipe that off a bit. Got some pocket junk in there. So anyway, I'm just going to put a little KPL heavy on the detent. It just makes for a nice action. What the hell, I'll throw a little bit in here as well. And I guess since I'm doing it, I'll do a little on the bottom side. So, get this guy put back on here. Get the other bearing, the other washer. All right. So, on the opposite side here, you can see you've got a hole milled out where the clip goes. You can pull that out, but I guess it came out real easy. So you can see there it's a squared out hole, so the pocket clip doesn't, shift side to side with the only one screw being in it. So that's really nice. And you can see here some more extensive mill work there. And there's your hardened steel lock insert with the over travel stop and ceramic detent. So yeah, it's got all the bells and whistles. Like I said, the only complaint that I have about this knife is that the pocket clip could offer a little better space under the clip. But I really believe that this knife was kind of intended to be a gentleman's carry. So, and certainly with thinner pant material, if you're wearing a suit or something like that, where your pocket hems are very thin, then this is no problem at all. And of course, in a shirt pocket or something like that, it would work very well also. So, get this guy back together here. Of course, or at least when I did, before I took it apart, it was perfectly centered. And let's see what that's pretty tight probably. I have 0 blade play. Loosens up just a bit. Still no blade play. Yeah, so you can see there you got to kind of shake it down a little bit, but action on it is really spectacular. And that little tiny flipper tab, there is some jimping around the spine of the knife, or not the spine, the tang on the blade. I don't think they really intended it to be a front flipper. You can see that jimping just ever so slightly sticks up above the scales there. And you can, if you're holding on to it right, you can get the thing to roll out. I've got some oil on my fingers here from this thing. But anyway, like I said, I don't think that was intended. It certainly could have been a front flipper if they would have given you a little material out there. But, the flipper tab works great. It's really comfortable. The detent is just perfectly dialed in. So that part is really fantastic. You've got a really nice satin finish on the blade here. Of course, you got the TwoSun logo on one side, and then Night Morning, his designer mark, and then the 14C28N, and that's it. So, nice looking knife. Really simple in its design, 2-screw construction. Kind of a unique blade shape. Kind of a dog bone shaped handle, but lightweight, certainly for its size. 3.4 ounces or 3.44 ounces for 3.6 inches of blade. Really, really nice blade to weight ratio. Just, pockets really well. Just a really great little EDC knife. It's lightweight. Action on it's fantastic. The blade steel's good. And guys, you can pick this guy up I've seen this thing sell for anywhere between, say, like 45 and 75 bucks, depending on where you buy it from. Of course, you can get this thing on eBay. You can also, I think, buy it on Amazon, and White Mountain Knives also is carrying TwoSun now. I guess one dimension that we didn't talk about is at its tallest point here in the closed. So you're looking at just under an inch in this dimension here. So, you know, it's certainly goes in the pocket well. And see if we can get blade height here. So yeah, a little over 8/10 of an inch in blade height. So, you know, compared to some of the Spyderco stuff, it's pretty compact in that direction. So, you know, looking at something similar in length and blade length, the Benchmade Freak here, you can see that although the handle length is about the exact same, just a much smaller package here. But again, you know, this is a pretty hard use knife. This is not. So anyway, guys, if you're looking for a good budget carry, you know, the TS-169 from TwoSun is a pretty cool option. Certainly, I've certainly enjoyed carrying it. And yeah, that's about all I got for your Faceballs today, guys. Thanks a lot for watching, and hit me up in the comments with any questions. We will see you next time. Thanks, and have a good day.